A very good evening. You're most welcome again to this sector of the Smart24 TV business. Now, we're going to look at the Dairy Development Authority of Uganda, and we are going to talk to one executive director of Uganda Dairy Development Authority to tell us how the sector is doing. He's going to tell us very many issues. That's about market, about standards. All of you know that we've been getting some new markets in Algeria, but we don't know how this has been enhanced and what's the new updates about the new markets of our milk. Remember, we cannot consume our milk here. We also need international market and of course, even domestic market. With me is Mr. Samson Akankiiza, the Executive Director, Dairy Development Authority for Sustainable Dairy Industry. I like that word. Mr. Samson, you can say hi to the listeners at the moment.
Yeah, thank you very much, moderator, and good evening, viewers. I'm happy to have Smart TV.
Tell us about the growth of the milk industry at the moment. How far are we? I'm not going to speak like Uganda Dairy Development Authority alone, but we are now speaking like the whole of Uganda. How's our dairy sector growth doing in terms of productivity?
Yeah, thank you very much. The Dairy Development Authority, first of all, is a dairy agency that is mandated by government to look at the development of the dairy industry, but also ensuring quality and safety of the milk and dairy products that are on the market. We do this through with the rest of the government institutions, especially Ministry of Agriculture, Industry and Fisheries, but other development sectors and all actors in the dairy value chain. We have noted significant growth, and this has been as a result of the two aspects which are the mandate of the authority through the coordination of all other actors. We are looking at the increased production and productivity. We have come hardly from 2 million liters to currently 3.2 billion liters.
Okay.
And this is as a result of the government intervention, first of all, to prioritize the dairy commodity as one of the key sectors that will transform the economy from the middle class to, from the peasantry to the middle class. So we are looking towards commercialization of the dairy value chain to be able to progress in terms of household incomes, but also realizing the foreign exchange.
There's been a problem of handling this milk, especially from the villages in the cattle corridor. Last time we did a story here at these very offices, and they were like, sometimes we get poor quality and something that has affected even the market or even the standard itself. How have you handled that?
Yes, we've been handling this through education of the farmers on clean milk handling, but also demonstrating the clean handling equipment. We have been promoting utensils which are food grade, especially the aluminium and stainless steel equipment, because milk has only to be handled in food grade utensils. We do this through demonstration on those clean milk production. We give some cooperatives for learning, but also advise them on where to get the inputs. We have also been addressing the issue of hand milking by demonstrating simple technologies, appropriate ones, where you have a machine that can milk 2 cows at a time, and which is affordable. And this addresses issues of handling, because now milk should not be handled with dirty hands and all that.
What I know about that story, the milking machines are not enough, and very many people, it's very hard for some of our farmers, especially from the villages, to access these machines. And the last time you gave out those machines were very few. I saw myself, and yes, the minister noticed that.
Yes, there are few, because these are demonstrational in terms of telling the farmers on the best technologies and how it can be applied. But we are working with the private sector to ensure that these are still accessible and affordable to the farmers. Because you look at the labor requirements for milking 100 cows, for example, you'd rather invest in a simple technology, which is what we were demonstrating. But we are looking at also increasing the budget to ensure that we cover most of the farming communities, but we cannot procure for each and every farm. So it is to ensure that there is a framework of access and affordable equipment.
That particular point of the budget, like I told you, I was reading about the budget allocations towards your sector.
Yeah.
I realized your previous budget fiscal year, you were given 18.8 billion, and then when I read the current budget allocation, which of course you're going to get, it's 11 billion. Doesn't that bring some sort of destructive? Or have you talked with the policy makers to enhance your budget? Because this is a good market that we should invest in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the figures that you got were for the initial first budget called circular.
Okay.
But out of what we have presented as those ingredients that help the sector to grow, we are very thankful about the policy makers to have upped our budget now to 18.5 billion.
Okay.
But of course, as a sector, that is not the ideal where we would want to be. Like you have mentioned, we are supposed to provide equipment for clean milk production, but this is still on a demonstrational basis. And we need also to have more resources to promote local consumption, to have a strong regulatory framework for us to be to access the market. But we are happy that the budget is progressively increasing.
Okay.
And there is now a very good understanding on where we want to go as a sector. So we are very hopeful that we are going to get more resources to invest in the sector to be able to progress.
Let's talk about the training and incubation centers. Apart from what we have from Entebbe, how broad are you to reach to even other areas of Uganda? Because if you look at Karamoja, they're also good cattle keepers. How are you planning that again?
Well, the Entebbe Dairy Training School is the National Incubation Center, okay, where we are training stakeholders in the value chain, especially at processing, but also all those that handle the milk. Because as DDA, one of our inspector and regulatory activity is to inspect and license all those that have passed the quality standards from the milk collection centers up to the distribution outlets. So all those are trained on how to handle milk in different forms, okay, and all this is done in Entebbe Dairy Training School. Okay, okay. We are upgrading that into a college to be able to accommodate so many students. Currently, we can only take 40 students in a single session, okay, which takes 2 weeks, 1 week practical and another week theory. So where we have equipment and we take them through production of dairy products. Okay. We are looking at having those incubation centers rolled out in regional offices. We already operate the regional model arrangement where we have regional offices. We have staff who are technical, and now we are setting up infrastructure.
So do you have Karamoja on the paper?
Yes, currently we have, the board has approved the 11 regions. We had 6 regions. Okay. One in Mbarara for southwestern, in Soroti for northeast, in Uguru for north, in Chiboga for midwest. Okay. We're establishing one in Jinja for eastern, and we have the central office, which is based at head office. Okay. But due to the need of getting closer to the people we serve, there have been a board resolution to have more 5 additional, which includes Karamoja. We are also looking at the central metropolitan, because there's a lot of regulatory activities. That's where most of the milk is sold. But also there is central region, which needs most of the development activities, like Sembabwe and those ends of Greater Masaka. So that is also another region. But the Midwest, being in Mbarara, there is a southwestern. There is also the Rwenzori area. So we are looking at also establishing in Fort Portal to take care of the Rwenzori. Yeah, the Rwenzori.
How's your collaboration with FAO? I was reading somewhere and I realized DDA, there's a collaboration with FAO. How important is that collaboration?
Well, FAO is our very strategic and key partner in the dairy sector, especially looking at many aspects. Okay. We had a pilot with FAO to look at the three aspects. We wanted to estimate the loss, post-harvest losses. We also looked at per capita consumption in the country, and we also looked at the productivity of the farms, the cost and benefit. And all these are in preparation to have a dairy master plan. So we want to have a dairy master plan of about 20 years, from where we are going to rally all partners or stakeholders to move towards a goal, because we are looking at about 10 billion liters in 10 years.
Yes, yes.
So to achieve there, to reach at that point, then we need to move together. And this is going to be the dairy master plan that will take us through that process.
Oh, that's very good.
And as we do that, then we need to have the baseline statistics. So with FAO, we are working at updating our statistics in the post-harvest losses.
Okay.
Where are we in terms of domestic consumption? And now the recent collaboration, we are looking at a competitive study and a comparative analysis of the dairy sector across the region, within the EAC, and now we are in the African Continental Free Trade Area. So we are looking at SCFTA to ensure that what are those inputs and what can we do.
So can this collaboration help us in as far as marketing our milk products are concerned? Exactly,
that's the ultimate output of it.
Okay.
Because the competitiveness is how our products are positioned to penetrate the African continent market.
Okay.
And compete with other products from, of course, it's free trade. And how is it compared in terms of input, output? Okay. So all this will ultimately lead us to new markets.
Okay.
And we are working with the Presidential Committee on Export and Industrial Development to look at, and dairy is one of the key commodities to access export markets.
Okay.
So this study will input into the destinations that we are marked, to have our dairy products go there.
Let us pray for that collaboration, because we really need it. Let's talk about the Dairy Action Plan. What's at stake in the upcoming fiscal year?
Now, this Dairy Policy Action Plan, we are looking at it in terms of having all these interventions being costed to get us to that point. We're looking at production and productivity. We look at domestic consumption, promotion. We look at market access to different destinations within the region and beyond. We're looking at animal health, animal feeding, and all these will have now the contribution from the government financing. We have the contribution from development partners financing.
Okay.
We have contributions from the private sector. We do not want to duplicate efforts. We want everyone to understand what has government contributed towards this. What is the balance, so that we are able to move in a very organized way.
Let's now come back to the infrastructures, the access to utilities, yes, and then coolers, they call them coolers?
Yes, coolers.
And something like that. We need to have a robust infrastructure road. How is it at the moment?
Now, as we speak, we have licensed 684 milk collection centers.
684
milk collection centers. These ones have the installed capacity of 2.6 million liters per day. Now, we have also experienced too much growth in terms of value addition, from 2 processing facilities, that was Dairy Corporation and JESA, to 160 small, medium, and large enterprises. And these ones have the total installed capacity of 3.4 million liters. So we are talking about getting closer to the cold chain infrastructure that is taking care of dairy production in terms of processing capacities.
Okay.
So we are very close in terms of current situation, but as we want to bring more raw milk sales through the processing facilities, this has to go with improved cold chain infrastructure.
Okay.
The government has put investment in that line. the southwestern part in terms of that development is okay. And as DDA, we are now moving to eastern and northeast to improve the infrastructure. Because we are mindful that as much as we train the farmers to produce more milk, if there's no off-taker, now the off-taker is that one who is going to collect volumes, chill it, and bulk sell in another place.
Okay.
So that has to be our efforts as government to stimulate production that will now trigger the private sector to invest, because there will be milk in those areas.
Okay.
Currently, you cannot have a private partner established where there is no milk. That's why there's most of the infrastructure in the areas where milk is developed.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Samson. But now, there's one thing which I want us to discuss, Mr. Samson. It's about the new markets that are coming on board. I know we've been having problems with some markets, Kenya and some other places, but we may not go there very far. But now let us talk about the markets that we have secured at the moment. I'm very sure we've got a market from Algeria. Can the current infrastructures, allow us access markets there? Give us the updates at the moment, because we need to take our milk to different places. We need to make market. We need to get money. We need to grow our sector at the moment. Tell us about the Algerian market at the moment.
Yeah. For the Algerian market, I would want to assure the consumers, even locally, that the regulatory framework under the Development Authority is very robust, and this is why we have ensured quality over time. We have ensured quality and met the standards, because we all follow ISO standards, International Standards Organization, that is harmonized at regional level, but also we have the similar standards of dairy products, and all that we meet the requirements. So the issue of quality and safety to consumers has been addressed in terms of having products that are safe for consumption and pass all quality parameters. That's why we have destinations like USA for casein, Japan for ghee, UAE. All those require high-end quality milk, and we have met those standards and the markets.
Okay.
This brings me to the Algerian market.
Okay.
The Algerian market is a very good and very strategic market for us. Thanks to the HE, the president is the one who negotiated the market.
I know.
And they gave us a quota of $500 million worth of the powdered milk.
Mr. Samson, are we reaching that?
Yes, because now this translates to 1.4 billion liters. If you converted the money into the milk, that becomes 1.4 billion of liquid milk, because it is 1 kilo for about 10 liters of milk. So that brings us to 1.4 billion. And we are talking of 3.2 billion of the marketed milk, of which now, if more milk comes to the marketing production, we can quickly go to 5 billion liters.
Apart from Algeria, which any other African country are we targeting?
Well, we are targeting DRC, because that's why even there is infrastructure development jointly being done, which is also a big market once the infrastructure is addressed. Algeria itself is a gateway to the Maghreb countries, where we know that if that is uptaken in the Algerian market itself, then it spreads to North Africa, where there is deficit in terms of production. Okay. We already access Rwanda, we access Burundi, we access South Sudan, we also access up to Ethiopia, so we have products going.
But Mr. Samson, I can read that you're recording some success.
Yes.
Because ever since I started following up this sector here, I realized there is some success. Last time I was reading the figures that the minister was reading here, they were giving a lot of hope. But don't you have a little bit of challenges that you think should be addressed? Because you can never be recording success. There must be some challenges that you think should be addressed.
Yes, of course, challenges notwithstanding, the progress has been going on. But we have challenges, especially when to come from the value chain going up.
Yeah.
We have one challenge of animal diseases. We have tick-borne resistance. But thanks to the government, we are looking at tick vaccines to manage the tick-borne diseases. There are also boards that are put in place to ensure that there is quality of the caricides that are being used, but importantly, to ensure that it is accessible and can be used, because some of the tick resistance is as a result of misuse of those drugs. We have also a challenge on animal nutrition, because most of the farms are now doing extensive farming in terms of open grazing. We would want to have supplementary feeding, to have pastures managed and planted. There is also a challenge on access to water for livestock, and this is being addressed through mechanization.
Do you have any financial challenge from government? I mean,
yes, of course. Now all these are being addressed, but not to the scale in terms of the development of the sector.
Okay.
So of course the financial challenges are always there in terms of repurposing and having those key areas being addressed, because you can't have all the money at the same time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samson Akankiiza. Mr. Samson Akankiiza is the Executive Director, Dairy Development Authority of Uganda here, and you've heard what he has just told us. These are records. We come every time we want facts, we come to the source, and he has just told us that we are recording success. We have secured some markets, not only in Uganda, not only in Kenya, but we've also gone up to Algeria, and that is going to be our gateway to the Maghreb region. But also we are hoping to get out of Africa and get to even other countries, the European countries. So it's all about standards, which I think he has elaborated that we are now hitting to the maximum. Thank you very much. Let's get back to you in the studios.